Hello students, today we'll discuss about learning. In my last lecture, we had touched some points in learning. I gave you the experiment, Pavlov experiment, in which there was a dog, and then the dog, how he used to act when there was a bell in front of it and it starts taking out its saliva. And we also discussed about various types of classical conditioning, non-classical conditioning. So now we start with classical conditioning. It is the physiological basis of classical conditioning is the formation of new functional connections in central nervous system or intracortical or subcortical system. Molecular basis, presynaptic facilitation by interneuron will increase after United State activates sensory neuron, which is increased and then released again. So let us start with a video regarding learning part 2. My name is Dr. Preeti Mathur, Associate Professor, Department of Zoology, SPC, Government College Ajmer. So students, we'll start with this topic. So here in this slide, classical conditioning, this is a slide of classical conditioning, and in this, condition means learned and unconditioned means unlearned. So here you can see the photograph of that scientist, that renowned scientist. He was a Russian physiologist. His name is Ivan P. Pavlov. Ivan P. Pavlov. He was there in early 1990s, and he also told deliberately about the mechanism of digestion in detail. He was a Nobel Prize winner in 1904. Now, Pavlov experiment, it prerequisites about alertness with good health, secondly about timing, thirdly about duration of CS, overlap US, and the type of US, not motor. Here CS and US means conditional stimulus and US means unconditional stimulus. Now the type of unconditional CS is not motor. So reinforcement is about internal inhibition, that is extinction, and external inhibition. We'll talk about these two. Now in classical conditioning, all learning occurs through interactions with the environment. The environment shapes behavior. And in Pavlov's experiment, unconditioned response, that is unlearned response, elicited by taste of food. Unconditioned stimulus is an automatic response without prior conditioning. Neutral stimulus, that is the stimulus that cannot cause salivation. Conditioned response, it is the learned response. What is it? It is the learned response. Yeah, we have all discussed all about this conditioned response and Pavlov's experiment in the previous lecture, and we also studied, you must be remembering, about the dog and its salivation with the bell experiment. If you don't remember, then please see the slide again, my last lecture. In that I have detailed and explained it clearly. So now we may proceed. Now, what are the key principles of classical conditioning? First, acquisition. It is a response established and gradually strengthened. Neutral stimulus is repeatedly paired with unconditioned stimulus. Secondly, extinction. It is the occurrences of a conditioned response decreases or disappears. CS is not paired with US. Thirdly, spontaneous recovery. Sometimes a learned response can suddenly re-emerge even after a period of extinction. Stimulus generation, what is it? Is the tendency? It is the tendency for conditioned stimulus to evoke similar responses after the response has been conditioned. Fifth, stimulus discrimination. It is the ability to differentiate between a conditioned stimulus and other stimuli that have not been paired with an unconditioned stimulus. Now, what are the applications of classical conditioning? Classical conditioning, it is a very important process in which the animals, human beings, and other living beings, in this, the treatment that is done, that is of phobias like alcoholism, addictions, and other unwanted behaviors. These behaviors are removed, and the phobias, like what is phobia? It is a fear. फियर है, डर है किसी चीज़ से. सपोजिंग इफ इट इज़ वाटर, तो पानी से फोबिया. दैट ह्यूमन बीइंग और दैट लिविंग बीइंग विल नॉट गो नियर वाटर, ही विल बी अफ्रेड. सो धीरे धीरे उसको एक्वाइंट करवाते हैं उस वाटर से, ताकि उसको फोबिया जो है उसका कम हो. लाइक दीज फोबियाज आर जनरली एक्रोफोबियाज, दैट इज़ द फियर ऑफ हाइट्स. एरोफोबिया, दैट इज़ फियर ऑफ फ्लाइंग. Arachnophobia, that is the fear of spiders. Some people they are very afraid of spiders, So that is known as arachnophobia. Astrophobia, it is another type of fear of thunder and lightning. When there is lightning, thunder, storms, then this type of phobia, that is astrophobia, occurs in some human beings, and they are very much afraid and feared of it. Autophobia, it is also fear of being alone. If that human being is alone, then it is a phobia, and he is uncomfortable at that time. He behaves abnormally at that time. And another type of phobia is also known as claustrophobia. It is the fear of confined or crowded spaces. Some people, they are very afraid to be present in a group or a crowd. They are very much afraid, they can't stand in crowded places. This type of phobia is called as claustrophobia. Then hemophobia, it is a fear of blood. If that living being sees blood anywhere, he is afraid of it. And last one is hydrophobia. It is fear of water. If that person sees water, or it is near water, or he touches water, he is very much afraid of it. So these are different types of phobias which are being treated in this classical conditioning. Now, training of animals to show desired behavior. In this classical conditioning, training of animals also occurs. It also takes place, and in this, the animals are trained to show their desired behavior. Now, laws of learning. What are the laws of learning? First, law of readiness. By readiness, we mean that the organism is ready to respond or act. This is more essential prerequisite for learning. Law of exercise. This law is also known as law of frequency. Frequency refers to a number of repetitions of learning. Then law of effect. This law states that when a connection is accomplished by a satisfying effect, its strength is increased. So this is all about laws of learning. So viewers and my dear students, I end here. I end the second part over here only. And again, now I thank you again for patiently hearing me. My name is Dr. Preeti Mathur, Associate Professor, Department of Zoology, SPCE, Government College Ajmer. So, students, be tuned with me. My email address is also there. If any query, please do ask me. Thank you.